Wife's best friend flirts with her, and she doesn't see the problem. TDLR. Wife is too close to her best friend, and would rather leave than compromise on him. I'm wondering if marrying her with him in her life was a mistake because it might be an affair at this point. 30YRM, me, 32YRF, her and best friend. Married 5 years. Together for 8. Wife has a guy best friend since HS. Early in our relationship, she made it abundantly clear that he was her best friend, so she would never stop talking to him on anyone's behalf. She basically told me, if you are insecure, and you're ever going to have a problem with how close me and him are, tell me now so I can move on. She said that he was gay, so they've never had anything between them. It was just always a platonic friendship. She explained the only reason she was setting that boundary with me was because her past BFS had tried to control her friendship with him out of jealousy, so she eventually stopped tolerating it, and started letting guys know in advance about her friendship with him. They talk regularly at least once a week, text every day and hang out together alone often. Even go on trips once a year together. I've never really had a problem with their friendship. I trusted her, and he's gay. We have all hung out together as well over the years, usually on holidays when he joins family gatherings. Her whole family knows, loves him. I usually don't join her when she hangs out with him alone, because we've met, and honestly, he's just not my kind of person to be around. After their trip in August 2020, during those holiday family gatherings, I started noticing he was giving her a little more attention than before. Staying close to her for longer periods of time, instead of mingling with the rest of the family. His flirting became super noticeable, and more intense, and he often stood with his hand on her lower back while in conversation with other people. I would watch her, and she wouldn't really react while close to me, but then when I was across the room, I would see her flirt back through body language. The first time I noticed this, November 2020, I blew it off, thinking I was overreacting. After this happened again last year, I tried talking to her calmly about the interactions I had noticed during the holidays. I wasn't telling her to cut contact. I just suggested maybe cutting down on it or talking about boundaries with him. She wasn't having any of it. She immediately got irritated, and went on the defense, basically telling me, "Don't start. I told you to never try to come in between me and friend's name. We've been together a long time. You should trust me enough by now to not question my friendship with him. If you don't, then we're done." That last part shook me. I had never brought up this suggestion before that. I never acted like I didn't trust her. Even when she would go on their trips alone, I always treated him friendly. And the one time I bring up a concern, she jumps the gun and threatens divorce? That was in February of this year. I left it alone because of the way she reacted. But I can't shake what she said. I am not sure if I should take this as a warning sign. I'm pretty sure at this point that he's not gay. Maybe bi, not gay. And ever since that conversation, I've been having a lingering feeling that maybe she's been cheating on me with him for 2 years. I am wondering if something happened during that trip in 2020 that changed their relationship. Even if she's not, I can't help but look back and wonder if at the very least, they have an emotional affair going on. Our relationship has always been good otherwise. I am just questioning my decision to marry her knowing this guy was in her life. Tell her, they can have each other and leave. Sounds like a friendship that's morphed over the years to emotional cheating that is morphing as wife's BF's sexuality morphs and has or may become physical. If your wife is putting anyone before her life partner, then frankly this is a marriage in serious trouble. If you point out concerning behaviors and she's unwilling to even entertain the discussion and then goes straight to divorce, then frankly you need some counseling really fast and you should visit a lawyer and make a plan so when this all blows up you're prepared. It doesn't sound promising for your marriage. Please show her this post along with the divorce papers. She's scamming you. She should always put her husband, you, first in my opinion. Any changes in your sex life since August 2020? Personally, I would have engaged a PI to know what's up. This is what makes the guy best friend scenario so difficult in the long run and is exactly why she's lost other boyfriends over it. She made it clear she would never set boundaries no matter how disrespected you felt, and I think you should have dumped her then. This isn't going to stop. She will never cut him out because he is a higher priority than you. Leave her. My 35M girlfriend, 33F, doesn't like that my stepdaughter, 16, moved in with me. I was with my ex-wife for 10 years. I helped raise her daughter since she was 4. I always treated her like my own and she called me dad. I divorced my ex-wife 2 years ago, but I still kept in regular contact with my stepdaughter. I was always there for her. My stepdaughter recently had a huge fight with my ex-wife and my ex ended up kicking her out. So obviously I told her she could move in with me. But my girlfriend of 6 months has an issue with that. She never liked that I had contact with my stepdaughter, and now that she moved in with me she's pissed. She thinks me having contact with my ex's kid is weird. We've been having arguments over this ever since my stepdaughter moved in. And quite frankly I'm getting tired of it. But I don't know how to resolve it peacefully without breaking up. I just thought I'd add that my girlfriend doesn't live with me. And also I'm in Scotland, where you can move out, be kicked out at 16 and can live wherever you want without parental consent. So my stepdaughter living with me isn't illegal in any way, and kicking a kid out at 16 also isn't illegal. Her mother knows that she's staying with me. To quote Shares Horowitz's dad, from Clueless, "You divorce wives, not children." Sounds like your girlfriend should pull her head out of her ass, and stop competing with a 16-year-old girl. She should see it as a good thing that you want to support a child you help raise, and should understand that your child, whether biologically yours or not, will of course always come before your girlfriend. She doesn't even live with you. She's being ridiculous. She needs to grow up, or else it sounds like she's not the right person for you. You only need to support one teenager, not two. Dude, you need a new GF. There's no fixing this level of controlling jealousy. Other people would think it spoke of your character that you didn't abandon the child you raised for 10 years. I would personally not date someone who could be a parent to a kid for 10 years and then just up and leave one day and not look back. Girlfriend needs to understand that your daughter was raised by you. Nothing in the world is going to erase that fact. No one outside the two of you should have a say on how your father-daughter relationship should be and how it should develop. If she doesn't understand this basic situation, she will be the victim of circumstance that she created herself. I mean, you raised her. Your girlfriend is just being weirdly jealous of a 16-year-old. My wife is constantly jealous of our daughter when I spend time with her. My wife, F47, is constantly jealous of our daughter, F15. When I, M44, am spending time with her. My daughter is on her summer break right now, meaning she had a lot of spare time. I spend some time with my daughter on the weekends because of this. We would walk the dog, go to a restaurant, watch a movie, fish, throw a frisbee in the yard, etc. My wife has taken notice to the recent surge in me spending my time with my daughter and seems jealous of it. I spend my time with my wife a lot too, so I don't see a need for her to be jealous. I sleep on the same bed as my wife, go on date nights with her every month, watch movies with her in our room on Fridays, and we go on jogs sometimes. I went to Red Robin's with my family last night. I sat next to my daughter and my wife sat next to our son. I had my arm behind my daughter. My wife laughed and told my daughter to stop, taking my husband away from me, as a joke, and asked to switch seats. She switched and forced my arm around her. I didn't say anything about it because I did not want to ruin the night, but I did not want my daughter hearing that. When we got home and I was alone with my wife, I told her it was a strange thing to say and do. My wife told me I don't spend enough time with her, so she felt unloved and unwanted. I told her she should be happy I am spending time with our daughter, but she angrily stated that I replaced her with my daughter. I feel as if this is unhealthy, but my wife doesn't seem to have any intent to change her point of view. I would like some advice. Yeah, she needs therapy. But sleeping next to your wife doesn't qualify as spending time with her. A date night once a month? And if you're spending your weekends all on your daughter, what about your son? This is very concerning. A mother being jealous of her own daughter isn't right and spells a potentially horrible situation for your daughter in the future. Was your wife always like this? Does she have a good relationship with her daughter? Is there more to this story? You don't seem to be paying attention to your wife or your son. Your story, in isolation, makes your wife sound crazy. But it's clear you're not affectionate with the other members of your family as much as you are with your daughter. Right or wrong, your wife is clearly starved for touch and affection. I'm getting some weird vibes from what your wife is saying. It almost sounds like she's getting jealous of your daughter in a way a girlfriend gets jealous of her boyfriend hanging out with another girl. Like she's jealous in not just a, give me more attention way, but in a sexual way, which is fucking bananas, man. She sounds like she's threatened by your daughter's emerging sexual potential. I really hope this isn't the case and it's just a, I want more attention thing, cause that's easily fixable, but this other thing is way deeper and honestly terrifying to think about. You need to have a serious talk with her ASAP because this is weird, man. Does she act the same way when you spend time with your son? Because that might answer this question. Honestly, stopped taking this seriously when I read that you spend a lot of time with your wife and the activities you listed were sleeping, date nights once a month, movie on Friday and jogging sometimes LMAO. There's no way I think anyone would consider all of those things a lot of time well spent together. While I think your wife is being weird with the comment, if your response to your wife saying she feels unloved and unwanted is to deflect to your daughter, then in my opinion you are the bigger problem. Maybe you two should go on a vacation, just the two of you. My mom tried to convince my husband to tamper with my medications. Throwaway and on mobile. So my 27F mom, 64F, is one of those people who doesn't believe in mental health conditions, whatever that means. She's always been that way, and I missed out on what would have been very helpful diagnoses back while I was still under her insurance due to that belief. In addition to a couple of other things, I have depression, and am seeing a physician for it, who put me on an antidepressant to treat it. I've mostly let go of my grudges about her dismissing my mental health struggles and attributed a lot of it to the fact that my mother didn't have education after high school, and also due to the fact that I can't change the past. A couple weeks ago my mom came to visit me and stayed with us for a week. I set up a camera in the kitchen, where I store my meds, not that I think she'd steal or anything, but just in case. After she left, my husband, 36M, tells me that she tried to convince him to make sure I get off of my pills because they are poisonous, whatever it takes. He says she suggested convincing me to get off, or getting rid of them for me. He said that he told her that he won't do that and that she was overstepping. He said after he stood up for me she started to cry in front of him, and it made him feel bad, so he told her that it's natural to be concerned about your child, but ultimately she's not a physician and isn't qualified to make decisions about someone else's healthcare, and he left it at that. He told me a few days after she left. I texted her a semi-long message about what he told me, and how manipulative and uncalled for it was. She confirmed the conversation, but even after a lot of back and forth, maintained that she didn't manipulate anything and did nothing wrong, and that she's also right about my health. She is supposed to come stay with us again for Christmas this year, but I told her I no longer want her to come after what she did, and that she was no longer welcome here. She called me crying, saying that I'm being cruel to her and that my medication is making me irrational, and I told her that her disrespecting my boundaries is inexcusable, and I hung up. She sent me about 8 long messages over 2 days about how poisonous antidepressants are and how depression doesn't exist, yada yada. I left them all on read and didn't respond. Then she was silent for about 2-3 days. Now all of a sudden she's sending me messages saying that she's sorry and won't say anything about it again, and she's begging for forgiveness. As of now I haven't responded to any of them, but I know she's seen read receipts since I have them on. How should I handle the situation at this point? On the one hand, this is the first time I've cut her off officially, and if that was the wake-up call she needed to butt out, then of course I don't want to lose her. But also I don't entirely trust that she's not just saying that only to try something else. But maybe that's just me being paranoid or having trust issues. I don't know. I feel like I did my best to educate her and I'm not sure about the best way to handle this now. Too long did not read. My mother believes misinformation about mental health, and tried to get my husband involved in interfering with my care. He stood up for me, which made her emotional and hysterical, but now all of a sudden she wants forgiveness, and I don't know if I trust that it's genuine. I wouldn't trust it because if she's willing to try to fuck with your meds and has a history of that, she's not really gonna change overnight. If best case she really did wake up, you have to handle it slowly because I really wouldn't trust a change of heart that quickly after so recently spewing about how depression doesn't exist. The apology is not enough. Without an actual plan to ensure it doesn't happen again, it comes across as placating rather than a true apology. You felt the need to set up cameras in your own home. Just in case, isn't the point. You don't trust her in your safe space. If she wants to come visit, then going slow means stuff like we will meet you at a restraint, park etc. and you can stay in a hotel, Airbnb. Your mom needs to come up with a plan to rebuild trust. Do not let her back into your house unless you secure your medication in a locked cabinet. Frankly, I would not let her in at all. Visit her at her place and where you are in control. Your mother is dangerous and manipulative, and regardless of her intentions, she is criminal. I would be very wary of this supposed change of heart. Feels like just another manipulation angle. Even if you don't want to cut her off entirely, I don't think you should rush to reconcile. Your skepticism is entirely valid, don't second-guess yourself. Talk it through with your husband, so he can help you stay strong and protect yourself from her. Does she wear glasses? Because I believe the eyes can heal themselves and glasses are just preventing your body from doing that. They are just a tool of big glasses to keep your body weak so they can sell you stuff. Take away her glasses and tell her that her body will heal her eyes naturally. And then watch as the struggles to do anything. Not to be cynical, but I highly doubt a 64-years-old person will change as drastically as you hope.